Yeah. And then on top of that is also the Stripe fees or the whatever
The
in
platform fee.
the platform that you're using, those fees as well.
Mm.
I'll message Sarah.
The one reason why I like doing my job because I don't have to deal with that stuff. I just build registration forms and abstract portals and yeah.
But, well, we're diving right in, everyone, straight into it. We're talking about Events Air Pay again,
Yeah.
or should I say,
Just for my
still?
benefit because I missed last week.
It's not at all, Lisa. I think we're still talking about it because actually one client we have, we've got a large event in Auckland next year, and the interesting thing is that they're saying it's an association that this is big, quite common for us, right? Where it's like a Australian New Zealand association. So they have, every the cycle, whatever the cycle is, 6 or 7 years or whatever, they end up in each of the different cities, and so New Zealand is one of them, and so then Auckland is one of them, and so then the interesting part is, do you charge in Australian dollars or do
Mm,
you charge in New Zealand dollars? And they have decided um, that New Zealand they'll just charge it all in New Zealand dollars because of the GST and wanting to make sure that they claim all that back and all of that. But the interesting thing that I just heard from another PCO friend was doing the same thing where they were doing an event in New Zealand, and as part of the tourism, whoever it is, tourism people, they gave them an hour with a Kiwi accountant to be able to talk through that stuff. And the conclusion or the recommendation that they gave was charge it all in Australian dollars, and then you just pay the GST, the New Zealand GST, and you can do it separately. And I'd not heard it like that before. Um, and so you can still, you're still getting all the GST credit for all the expenses that you're incurring in New Zealand, but you're able to separate out all of that income in Australian dollars, and then just portion off that GST payment that you pay at the end. Does that sound familiar? Like Lisa, you're nodding away. Is that
Yeah,
similar
yeah.
to
'Cause,
what?
I mean, we're Australasian,
Yeah,
and I don't host too many big things in New Zealand, but we run smaller things through our CRM, and yeah, I feel for our New Zealand members because they're paying in Australian dollars, but even
Australian
their
dollars. Yeah,
membership is paying at the moment. I think we're actually looking at changing it that they could pay their membership in New Zealand dollars, but a similar thing. I think that's what our accountants have been told that you might
yeah.
as well just do it in Australian dollars.
Well, and I guess it's no different for the New Zealand members that they every other year when it is in Australia, they're paying in Australian dollars then too, right? So it
Yeah,
actually ends up.
yeah, yeah. Well, we have got an event next month in New Zealand, and we're finding that actually 80% of the attendees are Australian. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well, and the other issue
Francie's
with
probably the
us
best
was,
one to talk about this being a Kiwi, and EJ as well.
that's right.
How you feel about
Yeah.
paying things in Australian dollars?
Yeah.
I think like you say, if you're used to paying in
Yeah,
Australian
yeah.
dollars, then that would be, I don't think it would make any difference to me. I mean, they're not hugely different anyway. If it was double the price, then I'd be a bit
Yeah.
a bit pissed, but because
Fair
the
enough.
currencies are fairly similar, it's not going to be a huge difference. Again, I feel like event organizers have a slightly different outlook on these things because we know that we have to deal with with things. But yeah,
Yeah.
Does everyone do that on like when they're taking their registrations, like have that what the currency the payment is, or do they just assume that everyone knows it's in Australian dollars?
so with the PCO that I used to work for, they always specified, even for New Zealand only conferences, we
Yep.
always specified that amounts were in New Zealand dollars and included 15% GST. Yeah, are you same, AJ?
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
We do the same. Well, but we say it's in Australian dollars, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. The other trick was EFT, and people being like particularly big organizations that are doing a huge group booking. They want to be able to just do a direct transfer. And so if the change was to say, no, it's all in New Zealand dollars as a New Zealand bank account, um, now it's an international transfer. I mean, I know it's a little bit different and depending on the different banks and whatever, but and maybe that's no big deal for some of these organizations, but for some, it would be like, well, last year we did a normal, Australian transfer. Um, Now we've got to do something completely different because the event is in New Zealand, but the organization is across both countries. Why would we need to do that? So it's but then we were talking about the pros and cons of allowing EFT in general, right? Because you're chasing it up, you're giving them registration, they don't pay, you're chasing it, you've given the registration, and so there is a huge argument for large events to say credit card only. But then you're paying a fee, and on a large event that can be tens of thousands of dollars just in fees that you're paying. So there's
the only thing
no
I
easy way.
say that you could do is if you were an organization who had bank accounts in both places, then you could set up the option to pay in Australian or New Zealand dollars.
Yeah, you could even set up two separate portals too, right?
Yeah.
Two separate registration portals.
Yeah, exactly. That's but I wouldn't suggest that for anyone who doesn't have both bank accounts, like, or if it's too hard basket to be reconciling the stuff, if you have people, organizations, but they're actually very separate, then
yes.
But if it's a day to day, there is money going from one place to the other, then
I mean, it's been a little while since I met with Eventsair about Eventsair Pay, but I feel like that was one of the options delegates could get to pay in a different currency.
Yeah, and it's an Eventsair form. It's always been able to do multiple currencies, and you can set up different like transaction fees and stuff in terms of the what do you call it? The fee that you get paid in terms of the rate that you're paying. Exchange rate.
Yeah.
There we go. It's
Exchange
been a
rate,
long Monday.
Yeah, Eventsair Pay, the marketing of it wasn't great, and I think they acknowledged that right at the start, that they came out really strong that this was going to be, the answer to everyone's problems. And really all it was just having a further integrated gateway, but that but that using Stripe particularly, you can still use Stripe as a third party gateway, which is what we need to do, which is a slightly different implementation. It's not quite as good as the Eventsair Pay, but it's way more flexible because now you can use your end client Stripe account. They can handle all of that, and you just tie that in, and away it goes. It's very different to being locked into the account name. We're kind of just going over what we said about last week, but it I was working on it again more this week, and just realizing, what is the key difference? And it is there's a product in Stripe called Stripe Connect, which is designed specifically for platforms to be able to integrate Stripe into their product, and the users of that product be able to have the accounts and title through, and be able to do things like on charge the fees and things like that, and so that's what it's designed for. So the cynical view would be that private equity investment into Eventsair.
Sorry, I'm just on a webinar. What have you got? Oh,
AJ, you just mute.
I muted her. I muted her. It's okay. That's funny though. This is like
hilarious.
Yeah. You ever do that where you
Yeah.
It's all right. I muted you, EJ, but I think you may have unmuted just before you spoke.
You thought you were muting yourself and you actually unmuted yourself.
You do the opposite. I've done that recently where I have a really easy mute switch, and so sometimes you get a sneeze that comes, and so I can normally just, or a cough or something, I just press the mute button, but I did the opposite this other time. Big meeting, I'm muted the whole time. Unmute, huge sneeze, mute again. It's like that's the opposite of what I was trying to achieve. Sorry about that. Anyway, the point is that the integration of all of that. Oh, the private equity are looking at the potentially hundreds of millions of dollars that flows through the payment gateways for Events Air, and they're saying, where's our cut of that? So now there is a cut. One way or another, they've, either you do Events Air Pay and they get a cut, or you do a third-party gateway and there's the fee for that as well now. So they do get it. I don't mind the concept that they're getting specifically. It's almost like a service charge in a sense, but the third party gateway fees, when you're getting up around $2 million that's going through it, you're looking at $5,000, and $5,000 sounds like a lot, and it is. But if you say that's 0.5%, 0.5% is not too bad. Because I think it gives us it gives us the ability to go back to Events Air if anything's going wrong, we need any support or anything like that. We're paying good money to ensure that these payments are all going through properly and it's all working.
And also keeping up with any changes as well.
Correct.
They're having to develop.
That's right.
And keep an eye on those things.
Yeah, maintain all of that. And I also support the idea that they reduce the number of third-party gateways that they're supporting, getting that down to 25 or whatever it is now. I think that's great. So yeah, I think that works okay. But I would do Events Air Pay if you could manage more what was that Stripe account a little easier. That's a sticking point for us at the moment.
So are you saying that you can't use that like Stripe Connect thing when you're using Events Air Pay?
It is essentially what it is. What you can't do, or the way that they've set it up, is that you can only connect it once, and then you can have multiple merchant IDs for different events, and that's okay. But the actual Stripe account that it's connected to has to be in the same name as essentially the Events Air user. And so that's a problem for some clients. For some smaller clients, there's no problem. We put it in a trust account and move it across, and it's all fine. But for larger, you don't want millions of dollars flowing through accounts, and some of those clients, they need to have that money directly. So yeah. Anywho, so looks like Sarah stood us up. She got scared off by showing the abstract portal.
I have been lucky, like I think Kelly mentioned last week, to preview it as well. So it is quite good. But yeah, I think it's and I hope Sarah comes and shares it with everyone another time. I think what I really enjoyed about, I think I said how we share, a few of us, that don't work in a big PCO, we share our registration forms just to have a look and see. And I think some of the biggest things I've done is just like changing the generic menu tabs. I guess I got from seeing other people's things. So, like instead of it being abstract submission, I have start an abstract submission, just trying to think, which I probably stole off Sarah, so I'll say your praises, honey.
Give credit.
Yeah, and just small things like on a registration form, the next button, instead of next, what are they going to do next? Like tell us something about you, and just making a bit more, because I think even our delegates get sick of our reg forms, like or the portals. I've actually enjoyed playing around a bit with that. We don't have to talk about abstracts. We should talk about something else when Sarah's going to talk about the presenter portal.
Yeah, I like the idea of sharing stuff because I mean, as a trainer, I see people doing things differently all the time. And so I have to be a little bit careful, obviously, with I don't like share obviously details, but there's certainly things like around invoicing with business details and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always good to see what other people are doing.
Yeah, well, there's an argument to be made about almost having industry standard registration portal processes, right? So that things like you're just mentioning, Lisa, like some of those naming conventions and things, the more events that are using those same sort of user experience, the better it is for everyone. It's like at least they're aware then that this is what I expect when I come to see a registration form. I expect to see start an abstract, submission or whatever it is. And so the more of us that are aligning on some of those things, I think it's better. It's better for event registration in general. So it's picking up on some of that. It's one of the things I would do if I had access to it, from Events Air level, to be able to say whether you have an option for people to be able to share theirs, or like, can I put this in a pool of people being able to compare and see what people are doing and some of the tricks. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think we all do. Like, if you spend so much time building it and looking at it, and you're like, okay, yeah, I think it's all great, and sometimes just getting an extra pair of eyes to go, I think you missed something. Oh, yeah, because you've just looked at it for so long.
100%. Yeah, and you just get too close to it, and you know that you press this button, then this button, and then it's fine. Particularly when there's an error or something, right? That was one of those things, is like jumping around when you haven't filled in something properly and trying to find where that error is, or is not complete. That validation process I think it's getting a little bit better, but yeah. Well, Sarah is not here for the first time. I think it was 7 weeks straight, perhaps. It's going to happen. And Catherine had a question around score types, I guess. It was like what your favorite score types are and why, as far as the reviewing process goes. Lisa, do you use the reviewing portal?
I think I mentioned in an earlier thing that I've actually used it for our awards as well.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I think that, I mean, we never really used to do it, but we're putting like a rubrics together to make it a bit more detailed, because I think we've got a lot of new judges lately, like for the presenters, abstracts plus the awards. So I really feel like that whole rubrics really gives them sort of a great idea of how to judge. But yeah, I mean, I think Fleur mentioned it earlier. Like, I actually really enjoy the reviewer portal. I find it really does work. It's easy to track your reviewers, where they're at. And I think it's just, maybe I'm old school. I like to have an even number, so I like to usually make it calculate to 100. Maybe that's just how my brain works. But I think that, I think you need to do that, like work out what's going to be easiest for you at the end to really judge who's what.
Totally. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Because you look at anytime you're looking at the score, you kind of think of it in terms of 100%, and sometimes think of it as like A, B, C, B, A, like thinking of it in those terms as well. But
yeah.
That works.
The one thing that we struggle with is, and I'd love to, can I open a new topic or not?
Absolutely, please.
Is on site. Obviously, we judge abstracts and there's different awards, and I've never worked out an easy way to do that. I mean, we're quite lucky. We don't get a huge amount of abstract submissions. Most of our program is invited speakers, but yeah, I just have never found an easy way to do that on site, getting the reviewers to judge at an event. So I'm loving if anyone's got a great way they do it.
Have you tried polling?
But it's only there's only like a certain amount of judges that are allowed to do it. So can I make the polling? I've done it basically. What I've done the past few years is I basically set up an individual survey in Events Air for every single presentation. And then I send, it's a manual thing, but then I send out to the reviewers, these are your ones you have to go and review. So then they can just click on and do the reviewing through Events Air. But it's just always hard to export that as like one whole data.
What about live Q&A?
Same again, it's only for certain people, right?
Yeah, but you can just have it that it's moderated. Oh, yeah, no, because you can't filter it, can you?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, we've done SurveyMonkey in the past, and there's just never seems to be, and I'm sure it will. It's always one of those jobs that you sort of leave to the last month and you go, oh gosh, I've got to work out how the reviewers are going to do that.
I've never tried this, but can you reset reviewing data, the reviewing process that you do before the event? Can you reset that and use it again?
Yeah, the only issue is the reviewer portal. You know, all those portals can be really slow. And I just feel like, especially if they're in the middle of a presentation, you know, it's a 10-minute session, they just want to quickly go in and do it. So the survey works. Like, the reviewers think it's great. It's just very manual from our back end, getting the results and also just setting it all up.
Is it a common thing? Like, does anyone else have that need to score a review during the event? Nothing else here. You're on your own, Lisa.
I've not had
Not yet. Not yet.
I've not had anything like that, but I have had that whole wanting to ask a question and then needing an immediate response sort of thing. But I think we've just got around it by doing the live Q&A or the live polling.
Yeah, I don't think you're on your own, because there's awards for things that happen all the time, and so there is a reviewing panel that often the thing that I think about is how many sessions are they doing that across, and is it that you're doing it across all of your sessions, Lisa? It's
at least, like, so the one just passed, we had 12, and it was out of the six concurrents. Only over 2 days though, because we make sure that the reviewing's only done on the first 2 days of the conference.
Where I've seen it has literally been a panel, and they're just using paper. And I'm not saying that that's the best option, but because they're all local and they're right there, and then they have their little private, chat about it all, and then they do the awards. But look,
some of them still, we give them the option. We do have some of our old school reviewers that prefer paper form, but actually I think this year we had no one do the paper form. So they all like doing it online, the survey. It's more, I guess it would be great, because I don't think in the survey there's like a drop down option for that many. Like, it would be excellent. Like, so I think for this year we had, I think there was like 60 papers to be reviewed. So it would be awesome if we could just, like a drop down, like, this is the title, this is the presenter I'm doing. Like, I think if the survey had the drop-down option, then I'd be able to export it all as one. Whereas I think because I have to set it up as individual surveys,
yeah.
I can't then, yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward that if someone's going to answer, please contact me. I'd love to. Yeah, I don't have to do it till May next year. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a series of possibilities of some custom development. I was just trying to think of things that already exist, because once I already I have all the presentation data in a table already, then what do you want to do with it? Do you want to sync it to a third party survey service? That's a possibility. Or creating a simple form or something that then is able to see that. That's immediately where my head goes. But I was just thinking if there was something. But I think you make a good point about the portals being a little slower. Have you noticed that as much in recent days? Do you think it's still pretty much the same? Is it being slow?
Yeah, I mean, I'm testing our abstract portal at the moment, and yeah, it's still pretty slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, we do a People's Choice for one of the awards, and that one works fine because I think it's less. Maybe we get less data. We just ask for, them to vote. Yeah, it's just I think when you've got a reviewing process.
Do you do that as a poll or?
Yeah, that one we just do as SurveyMonkey poll, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, as a SurveyMonkey. Okay.
Yeah, and we just do it's actually usually for our poster presentations. So we just have a QR. Everyone loves QR. Like that was the only positive thing that came out of COVID is everyone knows how to scan a QR code now.
I know.
Yeah, and we always think, we won't get many people to vote, but it's usually at least half of the attendees will vote for that.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that we push for QR codes on name badges a lot now is that we've tied all that into our presentation, like the file presentation management, PowerPoint files and things. And so when they go to speaker support, they just scan and it comes up with their name and all their presentations are already there. We don't look for them. We don't have to find what sessions they're in. It's all just there. And so having QR codes like that is amazing. But yeah, it feels like every second session now, someone's got a QR code that they're putting in their slide and everyone's up there, holding up and away they go,
Because they were around for years, weren't they? They were around for years before COVID and just everyone was like, oh, that's too foreign, too hard.
Well, and people for many years, people didn't realize that the QR reader was built into the camera app, and so people would be like, oh, you need a QR reader, QR code reader, and you've got a separate app and do all this. And I was like, no, just open the camera and away it goes. So yeah, I agree. That has changed the world. You've got me thinking about that, and
because sorry. I think... No, I'm not sorry. Please, I don't need to do it till May next year. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure I'm not the only one that.
No.
Yeah. And look, the easiest thing would be if I could do it through the portal. Like I could just set up another portal, assign. Like that would be do different criteria. It would be really an easy thing. I'm just really worried about how long it would take. Yeah, I could just see being in the middle of the presentation, they're trying to access via the portal.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I'll keep thinking about that. Have either of you, now that we're down to the three of us,
we're dropping like flies.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be the shortest one yet. Have either of you tested out the new training module stuff yet?
No.
I was. I've got a new staff member in another department who is wanting to start using Events Air, and I said, "Oh yeah, there's great new come and I'll show you where the training things are." And look, I'm sure if you're a new person to events here, you probably would be able to find it. But for me, I was like, where is it?
Oh,
Oh
where-
God. And yeah, it did take me a little while to then navigate where I was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you got,
That's
I mean,
probably
I haven't looked at it yet. It was you got there eventually?
totally. It's like, yeah. I think it's because you used to just go in and you used to have all your modules that you would have to do. It was
Yeah.
quite simple, whereas they've sort of done it this time where it's like what level of experience you would have at events there. And I think what I was looking for, I thought, oh yeah, that'll be in basic, but it was actually in intermediate. Yeah. So I think that's the only positive is I think that you don't, like, it used to be grouped that you couldn't move on to the next ones
You just had to do it all. Yeah, from
you
the
had
most
to do it
basic
all.
to,
So I think you can jump around. Just for me, and look, I'm sure if you've never used the old one, you probably will find your way, but I just found it took me a little while to find out what I was trying to show them.
The amount of times you just press next to get through the training so you could get that module done so you get on to the next one, because that's the bit you actually want.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
been a great new feature because like I've got, some of the guy, so the new person that started is in marketing and they don't need to know like a lot of it. They just wanted to build the website. So at least for them now, they can just go and find those training instead of having to do all of the other ones.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I have been meaning to do it because it just might as play around with it a little bit. You always pick up something here and there.
Yeah, I think the only thing was that because obviously it looks very different to what it used to be, some of the training modules aren't on there yet. They're still developing
Yeah,
them.
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll see where that goes. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Oh, jeez.
I know. We had an event on the weekend, and so just finished yesterday, and so it was a big one. One thing that we did discover, which I think is a fix, is co-presenting authors' bios showing in the app properly now.
Interesting.
So a single presentation, multiple authors, multiple presenting authors, bios showing correctly. And the thing that we're just trying to work out is that you've still got a presentation bio. And so the presentation bio is shown for the first person, and then the contact bio is shown for the rest. That's at least in our testing, that seemed to be what it was. So because we've had problems with that before, copying over contact bios to presentation bios to get them to appear sometimes in the right spot. But now it does look like that's working properly. Before, not all that long ago, it would only show one, and it would be a random. It would randomly choose a bio from the multiple presenting authors, which of course was a big problem. So they seem to have fixed that in the app. So that's helping some things along the way. But of course, it depends on how you enter your data.
So you must be pretty smashed then after having an event all weekend.
I am.
All right. Well, there's no burning questions.
This is good.
I'm happy to
that's
go
right.
and eat my lunch.
That's right. No, all good. Yeah. All right. This is what happens. I think that the regularity of this is what is really good. And it's fine. We'll have some quieter ones, and then we have some busier ones. So that's okay.
Yeah,
we just
I'm
know
hoping
we
someone finds a solution for my reviewing on site.
Yeah, that's right. No, you got me thinking about it because I think there probably is something that could be done there. So
yeah,
we're thinking about some of the tools that we've got at the moment, they're kind of in-house tools that we use when we're doing our events. But we've already had a couple of people like, can we just do this? We had an event actually on the weekend that we weren't on, and they wanted to use our session slides and the chair notes system and stuff. And so we did get that going for them without us being on site. And so that's the type of stuff we're trying to explore is, can this just be a third-party tool for people to be able to use on their events that could have some of these extra very specific, tools that you need to be able to do some certain things. So we're thinking through that.
I think up until 24, prior to that, there was an insistence that chair notes had to be pre-printed.
Printed, yeah.
And so I was very glad in 24 when we scrapped.
Yeah, nice. And so how do you do them now?
Well, I don't think it's as fancy as what you do, Grant. Basically, we just purchased a tablet for each room.
Yep.
And we just we made each room a delegate, and then we just added the sessions. And then all we did have printed was like a laminated thing, instructions of, right, go here, go here.
Or something. Oh, and, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then, via the app, it's got the times, it's got the bios, the session. So we just...
Okay, so there's no, if you needed a specific, please mention this type note.
We do all of that on like a housekeeping slide. So that it takes it off the chair having to remember to do that. So usually at the start of the session, we'll have like rotating housekeeping slides sort of mentioning different things. But we've done it now for 2 years with the tablets, and it's worked really great. Yeah.
We do tablets too, and of course then there's the chat. They can access the Q&A and stuff as well, right?
Yeah, although the only thing is I didn't do it, and I think Flo mentioned that I should put like the live Q&A app on the I need to do that for the future years, so that then they can at least clear it, like, because at the moment they're just set up as a room, so they can see all the questions, but they can't.
Right.
They can't moderate it.
They can't moderate it.
Yeah. So I think
remove them as they're going or whatever.
Yeah, I'll play around a bit with how we can get the live Q&A to work. That.
Yeah. So one trick with that is, and it's probably an error, but it works, and that is that the tokenized link. So an attendee's token link to the Q&A app works. So even if they're not actually a registered user for the Q&A app, does that make sense? So if they've got a token, they get straight in, and then we can store that whole link, including the token, as an icon on a tablet or whatever. And now when you click it, it'll auto be logged in, and then they've still got to choose the session, but at least it's logged in. They're not putting in a username, an email and password. So that's one quick way to get them to the Q&A app. So we do that a little bit. Polling's not the same. That's why I think it's an error. The polling app, you can't do that. You can't use a token link to get into the polling app, but you can for the Q&A app. So yeah, something weird about that. But yeah, I think chair notes is something that could be. We incorporate a timer in that as well, and so the timer system that we run works really well, and so then they can see that as just like a little window on that same tablet, so they've sort of got an idea of what's going on.
Maybe you need a demo of that 1 week, Grant.
Yeah, we can do that. There's an even fancier one, which I kind of feel like is a bit unnecessary, but there's one, because of the presentation management system that we use. We've got all the presentations, and what it does is it converts all the slides into a PDF, and so you've got PDFs, which means that when you give the chair a tablet, they actually have access to all of the slides really easily, and so they can zip along and they can see where they are, how many more slides they have left, that sort of stuff. I think it's cool. Most chairs are not
Yeah, I was going to say
engaging at that level.
That's usually what I'm always doing if I'm doing like a live webinar or something. I'm always wanting to know where they're at. But I'm not sure our chairs. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely looking at, I don't know, that would be another topic for everyone, like, reading out speaker bios. Do we really need to always do that now? Like, some of them are really lengthy. Like, you try and say, like, this is the cap. But I think
it is a waste of time, and particularly when more and more people, the attendees, have access, are accessing the app for lots of reasons, and so all the bios are there. Like,
agree.
Sit down and read them yourself, as part of your pre-event planning or pre-session planning, and let's save some more time, because this is what it comes down to. Is if you said to everyone, we can either have more time spent reading all the bios, or we can get a few more questions in at the end of the session. And we'd be like, give us more questions. We'll do the research ourselves on who the people are. Chances are we know half of them anyway. And give us some more time for questions.
And I think that was the way I got it over the line, that we won't be reading out bios in future, is that we need more Q&A time.
Yeah. And perhaps it's somewhere in between a full bio and their title, and it's like, it's a sentence. It's just like, I'm the CEO of this, key responsibility is this, and this is the project I'm working on, or whatever it is, right? Like, it's, okay, that's all I need to know. That's really interesting. Yeah. Anyway, good one. Yeah, chair notes is another interesting one. I think but I really like your thinking with putting it all on slides. That actually communicates it even better. We do have another little digital signage system that we use for the session holding loops. It means that it's a central place that we can manage all of the slides across all the rooms. We can schedule them rather than individual PowerPoints. We can schedule what slides show when, and it alternates between a session holding slide, so what's happening in this session, and then a standard loop. And so every second one's a session holding, and then the next one is, housekeeping, whatever, sponsors, whatever. It just keeps alternating through. And so we can just manage that across all of the whole event. It's a really nice way of doing it. And then when there are certain ones that, the announcement of the next year's event or whatever it is, that can turn on for the last day or things like that. And you can make last minute changes in one place instead of managing that file across everywhere. So that works really well. But I do like that idea that anything that's important enough to mention should just be on a slide.
Well, it's and I think it's also looking at your alerts too. Like, we definitely culled a whole lot of our alerts. We just felt like how many alerts do you need to actually send that people are just going to go, I'm not even going to look at them?
That's right.
So I think we're really trying to schedule, okay, what do we actually have to send, or what could be on a housekeeping slide instead?
Yeah, that's great, because it just becomes noise at some point, right? The more you send, it's them crying wolf, and you just ignore it. You start ignoring it. We had an event recently, they sent out an alert to everyone for a missing phone or missing something. I was just like, it's a bit immediate for everyone. Everyone need to know about. I'm sure the person who lost their phone is actively looking for it.
Yes.
It was interesting.
Or go to the venues, lost property. I'm sure they're the best person to go speak to about.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for coming along. Keeps us thinking about different things. So mull it over for a week. See what we come up with next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.